This is going to be instructions on how to make the hooks that will hold the PVC piping to the edges of the cage, and also allow an area for the roof top part to rest on, and will hold that all in place. I start out with several 6-inch length pieces of wire. I don't even know what kind of gauge it is. It is the gauge that you find on a coat hanger, especially the ones that you get from the dry cleaners for the pants. The one with the paper tubing on the bottom tends to be a little heavier than just the thinner ones that they use for every other kind of clothing. So if you can find the heaviest gauge of coat hanger wire, it works out pretty nicely. I also find that the gold tone tends to flake less than the white coated ones. In order to do this, you'll require a couple of different types of pliers: regular pliers, a needle nose pliers. You will need a section of PVC piping in order to use as a template to make the round part of the hook. And some muscle. These take a little while to do. As far as the hook goes, there's 3 main pieces. There's the little hook that helps keep it all in place so that it doesn't unwind, especially if there's any pressure put on the top of the cage. There's the part that goes around the PVC piping, and then there's the bit of the hook that goes over the edge of the cage to hold it all in place. So the first part I'll be doing is making the small little hook part. So you want to grasp the wire at the very end using your needle nose pliers and bend it into a hook. About yay big. That looks pretty good. The next thing you'll need to do is make the loop part. This is where bending it around the PVC makes it a little easier to do, and that way you know it will fit. So you need to hold it in place with a large pair of pliers, and then just bend it around the PVC all the way around till you get to the beginning. That looks pretty good. So you've got the round part, the little hook. Now what you need to do is bring the metal portion into the hook part. So if you can grab a good hold of it on this part of the ring and just snap it into place. And then we'll give this a little squeeze. Make sure it doesn't want to come out. This one's not quite as good as some of my others, but it will have to do. So I have a master hook that I use to as a template for all my other hooks, and it's mostly to make sure that they will all seat the PVC piping the same distance from the top of the cage. So I want to use the top of this one to align where I'm going to bend for the top of the other hook. So I line them up with my needle nose pliers so that they're on the same part, and then bend the new one over, at least enough so that I know where I want to bend it, and then it's easier to do the rest of it without being on the PVC piping. Now you want to make sure that you don't want to make this too sharp of a bend. I've discovered that if you bend it very sharply, it will sit higher up on the grid than you really want it to. So you want to make sure that you kind of give it a little bit of a rounding, and then down. Make sure that's straight. And there you go.